Welcome back to the Plant Plan Kitchen. Today we are making a soup. It's going to be a red curry soup with red bell pepper, some squash, and some carrot. Now, if you watched my last video, I went through all the different soup ideas for the season. If you're a soup person, if you are in the mood for those hearty, warming, completely plant-based soups, full of fiber, full of nutrients, check out that video first so you can get some ideas of different soups that you can make. So today I'm taking one of those ideas and just showing you how I'm putting it together. So the reason why I'm doing this video is to show you how easy it is to pack in all this veg, pack in all this flavor, and have a ready to go soup that is available for you all throughout the week. Now, if you are like me and you're looking to increase the amount of protein in your diet for muscle gain or retaining muscle as you're doing other physique goals, then you want to find a way to add some protein in. There are many ways to do this. The way I'm doing it is I have some roasted tofu here. This is usually transparent, but you can't quite see it. I just have some roasted tofu that I'll use as a topping. I'll probably have toasted bread on the side as well. Now let's get into what's all going in this soup. So I mentioned before that this will be a red curry paste based. So this is the base that I'm using. I will also be adding this vegetable bouillon cube, probably half, just because one cube is a whole lot and there's already a whole lot of sodium and flavor in the red curry paste. So this is the one that I'm using. You can use any one that you like. It doesn't really matter. It says not chicken. So, you know, if you have that, use that, and then it'll be very similar to what I'm making. The other things I'm using is this red bell pepper. Now, I had the idea to roast this. That would have added a whole lot of extra flavor to it, but not doing that. I'm just gonna chop it up and throw it in the pot. You'll see in a moment. I also have this half of a yellow onion. This is kind of like a medium size, so half a medium yellow onion. You can use more or less, doesn't quite matter. I also have this red chili pepper. So I'm gonna put the whole thing in there. Pray for me. You could always add more broth, right? So if whatever you've made is too much of X, Y, and Z, you could always either add more broth or add more water or something else to even it out. So I'm just gonna go ahead and use the whole thing because I don't like having like half a pepper laying around in my refrigerator with no purpose, right? So it is a pretty big one. I probably should have found a small one, but it is what it is. These are not too spicy, so I'll be all right with that. I also have some leftover sad looking stalks of celery. I'm trying to use these up. Like I mentioned in my last video, they were getting kind of sad, so throwing them in there. Otherwise, I probably would not have put this in, but soup is one of those things where it's dump and go, right? You throw whatever you got in there. I'm also going to be throwing in the rest of this bag of shredded carrots, so that's going to add a lot of flavor to this as well, and a little bit of sweetness probably. And then the other star of the show is this squash. So let's actually get started with this. So some options to make it easier, and this is what I'm doing. I'm literally throwing everything in the Instant Pot, closing it, put it on 10 minutes, and there is my soup. And then I'm going to blend it with an immersion blender to make it smooth. If I see the texture is not doing what I want it to do, then I may add more water in it. You know, we'll see what happens. That's the beauty of soup. I find soup recipes to just be, for me and my cooking style, it always feels a bit restrictive. I'm like, but I don't want to do that, or that's too much work. So join me in my lazy method of soup making here. So the thing with most you should probably do this with a spoon. I'm just too lazy to go ahead and grab a spoon. I'll probably keep this censored because some of y'all are really sensitive about how people use their knives. And I'm very just like, get this done. You know what I mean? Like there's probably a more practical way of doing this, but your girl ain't a chef, okay? She's just a humble home cook that's just trying to get her nutrition in. You see what I'm saying? So the innards of the pumpkin will obviously go into the compost. The rest of this, now with squash, most of the time you can actually, if you cook it down enough, you can actually eat the rind. I think just this section is probably easy enough for me to cut it. So I'll try to take off some of it, but if I get annoyed, I will likely just throw it in. The Instant Pot really will break down this whole thing. There's a lot of fiber and nutrients in it, so you know, I mean, look up whatever squash you have and see if you can use it. Most of them you can, and you can tell if it's too tough, then you might want to take that off. But so let's go ahead and try to take some of this off. And sometimes you could just tell by how easy it is to cut it off, right? Like if it's this easy, like, child, you could probably eat that. So that's most of it off. I'm happy with that. And because this is going to be a blended soup, that adds even more ease to this recipe, because I'm just going to cut it into pieces. They don't have to be uniform. They don't even have to be small. They can just go in the pot. The only thing is you want to make sure that you are allowing it time to really break down. I think I'm going to start at 10 minutes. 10 minutes should probably be fine. Remember, it is working to get up to pressure, right? So it's not just 10 minutes of cook time under that high pressure. I'm also, like I just said, putting it in high pressure as well. Let me stop waving around this knife near my face. I've had enough knife accidents on this damn channel. So obviously the smaller you cut it, the quicker they will cook and break down. You know, y'all know. And if you don't know, and you don't have an Instant Pot, get with it. All right. So what I'm gonna do with the celery is same thing. Honestly, I didn't even need to cut them up this small. You get the concept. Just cut the veg. Just cut the veg. Okay. All right. So that's the celery in there. If I really wanted to do this properly, I would put this on saute and do the celery and onion first. Saute that and then come back and add the rest of it. But anybody got time for that? All right, so that's the pumpkin, onion, and celery all up in there. Let's do the pepper. Now what I'm gonna do actually is I'm going to just cut around it, and however many of the seeds get in there, that's fine with me. And the middle part that kind of makes everything a little bit bitter, I've just put off into my scrap pile. And again, rough chop. That is the whole purpose, for me at least, the whole purpose and the whole benefit of the Instant Pot. You ain't gotta do much. It'll do all the work for you, right? Don't make it harder than it has to be. Okay. How many of you love when that happens? There's like a little baby one that starts growing inside of this. I don't know why that happens. Someone, if there's any plant people here, like any gardeners, if you know why that happens, tell me why. I mean, it makes sense. It's full of seeds. So, you know, I'm just assuming one of them, you know, decided to become a big boy. Again, if you know, you can cut the white part out to make it, you know, just not include that in it. That's totally fine. Could I be doing this more neatly? Absolutely. Do I actually care? No. We'll leave the green parts in there. You know, I'm not too precious about the color of this here. Okay, so that is most of our veg in. I'm gonna throw in the carrots as well. Are they still good? Yes. That's the benefit of keeping things in the freezer. You don't have to worry too much about a whole ton of stuff going bad. Oh, and that's pretty much everything. Now the only thing I have to worry about is this bouillon cube. So I'm gonna put half of the bouillon cube in there. Let's see if we can, let's see how we can do that neatly. Alrighty, here we go, half a bouillon cube. And I forgot a spoon. Alrighty, so what I'm gonna do is, I'm just gonna, this is probably 1 or 2 teaspoons, 1 teaspoon. Let's start with 1. Let's just get the scrapey bits off the side. Okay. Start with 1 hefty tablespoon, I'll call it. And then try to get the rest of this off the spoon. Okay. And now, so I have some water boiling from my kettle. Pro tip when you're using an Instant Pot making soup, use boiling water. That allows it to come up to pressure way more quickly. If you're tired of waiting for your Instant Pot to get up to pressure for 15 minutes or however long it is, you can reduce that to like 5 minutes, not even, if it's really boiling, right? So, so I'll be right back with my water. Alrighty, so I got my boiling water here. I'm just gonna pour that in. I would say sometimes the only benefit about recipes is, for me at least, is that, you know, the ratios, but for the most part, you know how thick or how creamy or how whatever you want your soup. So like, you know, you could always add more water later. It's not that serious. Okay, so let's get this closed because you don't want too much of the heat to escape. All right, and we are gonna set this for, actually, okay, so pressure cook. We're gonna make sure that that's at high pressure, and we're actually, I have it at 10, but I might just do a 20-minute, like just to basically nuke it out, like really make sure that that gets done. So, I always forget that it just starts by itself and I don't have to do anything to it. I just stare at it as if the start button will come out of nowhere and be like, oh yes, press me. Okay, so this will shortly come up to pressure and then the timer will be on for 20 minutes. So I would say all in all, this is something that'll take 25 minutes, 30 minutes. So in total, you're looking at max like a 40-minute situation, right? Until dinner or lunch or whatever it is ready. This will probably make like 2 or 3 serving. Actually, that'll probably make like 4 or 5 servings, right? Depending on the consistency, depending on if I want to add more water in it to make it a little bit thinner. Like I said, I will likely have it with some added protein on the side. Maybe I'll have it in a sandwich. Maybe I'll just top it, like throw this tofu on top. I'll also add some herbs, right? So I have some cilantro that I'll top it off with. That would be pretty good with the red curry flavor. And yeah, you can jazz it up as you want, right? I have some squash, I have some frozen spinach. That could be a good addition to it as well. So you could really do anything with this kind of a soup. You should think of it as a base of a good meal, and you already have loads of veg, loads of fiber in there, and at this point you're just adding your protein and adding any of the kind of, you know, herby yummy bits that you want to put on top. And so that's pretty much it. Next time you'll see me, I'll probably do a taste test with this so that you can just see how it comes out. Oh, actually, I should probably show you, you know what an immersion blender looks like, y'all. I'm not going to show you this, but I'm going to put, you know, you zzz, zzz, and then you know, yeah, if you have a bullet blender, that also works. If you want to put it in like a Vitamix or a Ninja or whatever high speed or not high speed blender, because it'll be so nuked from this and so softened that you can use any blender you like. Otherwise, what you can do if you don't have a blender or don't want to have an added step after this, you can just chop up everything really small, right? And make sure that it's all incorporated and mixed through. You can also do the saute of those other vegetables so that they can soften even more before the whole cooking process, the whole pressure cooking process happens. And then at that point, you'll have a chunky soup, but it'll still be ready to eat without the added step of blending it. And yeah, and that's pretty much it. If you like this video, If you like recipe videos where it's just simple, how do I take this concept, go in my kitchen, find what I have, maybe buy a thing or two, and have a good, wholesome, plant-based meal, come on down. Drop a like, drop a comment, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you the next time I do this. I forgot to close the vent. You should do that. Otherwise it won't come up to pressure. So here's the soup. Lovely, delicious, creamy. So as you can see here, creamy, but not creamy enough for what I was thinking. I think I put in too much water. Delicious. Delicious. Now, what I did was I opened it up after it was done, well after it was done, and I blended it with my hand blender like I said I would. And I saw the consistency and I was like, this is fine. It'll work. It'll do what it does. But then I remembered that this bad boy was in my cupboard, right? Or in where I have my canned goods. This is organic reduced fat coconut milk from Trader Joe's. I normally just get the full fat coconut milk and use less, right? It's the same price for less, essentially. This is just watered down. But here I am, I have it here, and I think now's a great time to use this. I can just dump it in here. I'm going to use the full can, which is great because it'll give me more servings of soup. Wonderful, right? It'll bump up the volume. And I think I might add some more red curry to it, depending on how much it thins out the flavor with this. So let's do that. But essentially, that's all we're gonna do for the rest of the evening. And I may or may not have this as my, oh, she's chunky. She is chunky. Okay. Cool. This is what's happening here. There's a lot of like the fat of the coconut milk. So maybe I might use that for something else because I'm not trying to bother with blending this again after I just cleaned my hand blender. So I put in most of just the liquid. And of course, when I reheat it, you know, things will kind of, you know, they'll melt down a little bit, the little chunks that are in there. It's not getting much thicker, but there was an idea of what I thought it would do, and then there's what it actually did. Now, if you're horrified that I tasted with the spoon and put it right back in, I live alone, chill out, okay? This was the right move. This was the right move. If you're gonna recreate this, definitely add the coconut milk. And in fact, this can now be just your, you know, a random curry type dish that you make. You can throw vegetables in there like broccoli. I mean, there's already plenty of vegetables in here. So you can have this as a regular soup and something on the side or what have you, or you can kind of throw a whole bunch of veg in, have it with a side of rice and do what it do. This is delicious and very nutritious. And in fact, that might be what I do for dinner. I'm gonna get some brown rice going. I'm gonna add this tofu. I do have some leftover broccoli from last week, and I'll have that with curry, essentially. That's great. And I love this sort of stuff. I love how you can end up with several different recipes by just figuring out how to use stuff in your kitchen. I'm essentially telling you 2 different recipes in this video. Who knew? Who knew? It was delicious before, and with the addition of this, it's extra delicious. So yeah, I hope this was helpful to you. I hope this freed you up a little bit. I really hope this freed someone from recipes and feeling like you can't get something in your meal prep or on your plate unless if it is to the T how it's supposed to be. just make your food, make sure it's wholesome, make sure it's healthy, make sure you have your protein, make sure you have your fiber, make sure you have a rainbow of vegetables throughout your day. And you'll be good. You'll be good. If you need help with that, like I said, reach out to me. The information will be down below. And until then, like, comment, subscribe, do all the cool things. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.